Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lauren and I'm obsessed with books. As you can probably tell. I know how I feel about that moving thing that the camera's doing. I don't know how to turn it off though, so if I move around and then the camera moves, I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix that. I just realised I never actually said what I'm doing in this video, so it's the mid-year book Freakout tag if anyone was wondering. Okay, so the first question on the list is, what is your favourite book so far of the year? And if you're a bookworm, you know that this is like the most irritating, unanswerable question to possibly be asked. But eventually I settled on my favourite book this year being Circe by Madeline. Let's just say I cried like a baby while reading this. Like a natural baby. This incredible creation. I did have a few other books that I've rated 5 stars, but none of them quite came close to what this book made me feel. Like others, I had bits and like picked out bits that I didn't like maybe so much as the rest of the book. This one, I cannot find a fault with it. There is no fault. Let me insert a picture here of me crying. Yeah, this is incredible. I cannot recommend this book enough. If you don't know what it's about, it's the story of Patroclus. I'm not quite sure how to say his name, but it's his love story with Achilles, and it's Greek mythology. I think I've already said that, and I don't have anything else to say about this book, so we're going to move on now. The next question on the list is the best sequel you've read so far, and I haven't actually read a lot of sequels. This year I've been reading like a lot of standalones. It's common knowledge in my family that I don't like this series a lot, but if I had to pick out of all the sequels, I would say that A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas was my favourite one. The first book I hated. I rated it 3 stars. I thought it was ridiculous, right? And then I got to this one and I started to kind of see the hype and things, and the storyline picked up a bit, and the characters got more likeable. Rhysand got more likeable. So if I had to pick one, I'd say this one. But honestly, it was kind of slim pickings, you know? There wasn't really a whole lot to choose from in this category, so I chose this one. The next question on the list is a sequel you haven't read yet but want to, and that would be that new Emily Henry book. I can't remember what it's called now. Oh, It's a Funny Story. I think that's what it's called. It's a Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I think that one came out like early this year. You know what, I'm not actually a person that keeps up with all of the books that like coming out and what's new and stuff. If I go into a bookstore and I see there's a new book, I buy it. I'm not really like looking out for them or like following the pages or whatever. Oh, you know what, this isn't actually a very, very new release, but A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. I haven't read that yet because it hasn't come out in the small paperback. In my country, the huge paperbacks come out first, and then like a year later they'll bring out the normal size. So I'm waiting for that because I'm not going to pay 400 rand for the big size. So yeah, I've just been waiting for that to come out. I think it did come out like probably last year already, but for me it's new. Again, we have another question about new releases, which is your most anticipated release for the second half of this year. And again, I don't have a clue what's being released in the second half of the year, so I don't really have an answer to that. Next, we have my biggest disappointment this year, and I have 2 books in this category. First, we have Shaman's Crossing by Robin Hobb. If you know me, you know Robin Hobb is my all-time favourite author. The Realm of the Elderling series by her, all-time favourite series in the whole wide world. I love that series. I was really expecting to like this one, but the storyline just really, really dragged on for me. The characters weren't likeable. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't really very bad, but it just didn't captivate me like all of Robin Hobb's other books. So I won't be continuing this series. There are 3 books in the series, in the little trilogy, but honestly, I'm fine with just leaving it the first one. Another disappointment is Murder in the Family by Cara Hunter. I was really looking forward to this because of the way it's written, like the format it's in. It has like interviews and newspaper clippings, and I was really looking forward to that because I've never read a book like that before, apart from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That one kind of has some documents and newspaper stuff in it, but this one was like nothing I've ever read before, so I was more excited about the format of the book than I was the storyline. But in the end, it was actually just incredibly confusing. I gave it 2.5 stars. And you know what, I'm to this day, I've read this months ago and I'm still not sure I actually know what happened or who the killer was, or because it was that confusing. There was a lot of characters, like hundreds of characters, and I couldn't remember the name of a single one because they weren't very distinguishable. So yeah, in the end I just ended up like slugging through the last like 300 pages of this because it was boring and it was very, very confusing, and I didn't really understand a thing that's going on, and I still don't know who killed who or who even died or what happened. And also, I do remember, now that I'm talking about it, it comes a bit more to mind, that at the end of this book, like the last 200 pages, 100 pages, the plot twists started getting so frequent and ridiculous that it just wasn't even believable anymore. I remember reading like 4 or 5 different plot twists, and they were just one after the other after the other, and it just became so absurd. I was like, it's not even believable anymore at this point. A mystery thriller, you kind of want it to be semi-believable because that's what makes it scary, but this was just like, it almost seemed cartoonish the way the plot is. Like, it was like bam bam bam, this happened, and this guy's dead and this guy isn't dead, and it was just kind of stupid to me in the end. Next we have the biggest surprise, and again I have 2 books for this. First we have a sorcery, or first we have sorcery, hold on. First we have Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerton, and this really surprised me because I hadn't really heard too much about this book. I think she also wrote An Enchantment of Ravens, which I'm now really, really curious to read after reading this. It was incredible. I really do recommend this. It's about like this magical library, but the grimoires, you know, like a grimoire, like a witch's book or whatever, they're alive and sentient. So that's really cool. I've never read anything like it before, and I loved the main character. It was great. And now my foot's dying. Oh, ow. Oh, my foot's gone dead. This is why you don't sit on the floor, kids. Yeah, this really surprised me. I gave it 5 stars, and almost I wanted to reread it the second I finished it. That's how good it was. Then another book I wasn't really expecting much from was The Gracier by Kim Liggett. I wasn't really expecting much from this one either because, again, I bought it secondhand and I didn't really know much about it. This book, wow, is incredible. I really recommend this. Let me actually just read the back of the book. It says, Tierney James lives in an isolated village where girls are banished at 16 to the northern forest to brave the wilderness, and each other, for a year. They must rid themselves of their dangerous magic before returning purified and ready to marry if they're lucky. Insane, right? Very creepy and disturbing, very unsettling. Like, I felt it like in my bones, the way that I don't know how to describe this, okay, but it just shocked me, and again I gave this 5 stars. Next question is your new favorite author, debut or new to you, and that would have to be my beloved Stephen King. I started my Stephen King journey at the beginning of the year by 11/22/63. This was the first Stephen King I ever read, rated it 5 stars. Then I read this one, 3 stars, this one, 3 stars. Then I read Carrie, which I gave 3 stars, and then I read The Shining, which I gave 5 stars. I could babble on about Stephen King all day, and these are the only ones I've read so far, but I have Salem's Lot, which I want to read next. I am obsessed with Stephen King. If anyone who's watching this has read Stephen King and is like a Stephen King expert, can I please have all the recommendations, because I need to read everything this man has ever written. Then we have my newest fictional crush, and I did read like some romance books this year. Like I read Beach Read, I read some Emily Henry, I read some Ali Hazelwood. None of those books, like men, really stood out to me. Nothing really has, but I would say I did read The Dark Vault by V.E. Schwab, and I loved Wesley in this book. I love Wesley in this book. He's just cute, you know, he's like little emo boy. Okay, next we have my newest favourite character, which would be any female character in The Power of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Any female character in this book will do, any single one. We have Eodaz, Sabran, and Tanae. Loved this book. It was very confusing for the first like half. Once you get going and really get to know the characters and the plot line and like the history of the world that you're in, fantastic. 5 stars, I mean, not 3, definitely not 3. And all of the female characters are such good role models and so strong independently, and they don't need men to back them up. So that I really love about this one. You know what, but I think Eodaz would be my favourite. I don't know if that's how you say her name. Eodaz? Eodaz. I think it's Eodaz. Would probably be my favourite. Next up we have a book that made you cry. This is just going to come back for round 2 now, The Song of Achilles, because not a single other book has made me cry as hard as this one did. Not a single one. Maybe The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab might have made me cry. Oh, also The Nightingale by... I can't think of her name right now, but The Nightingale also made me cry. But honestly, none of the crying that I did to those books compares the crying that I did to this book. So this is going to have to win every time. For the rest of time when I'm asked the saddest book I've ever read, it will be this one. Because I don't think any book could knock this one down off its pedestal. Next we have a book that made me happy. Now I'm an avid fantasy reader, and if you're a fantasy reader, you know a lot of it is not happy. It's usually quite dark and sad. But I did read A Romance Tweet Cute by Emma Lord, which I don't really remember a lot about this except for that I was happy while I was reading it, so it must have been good. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was cute, it was unproblematic, there was no like plots or twists or anything like that. It was just chill, fun with these little romance characters, and I really enjoyed it. Next question, we have the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year, which is going to be A Day of Fall and Night by Samantha Shannon. I bought this one for myself as a little treat. Oh, there's a bookmark in it. How cute is that? There's like the prettiest cover I've ever seen. Stunning. This is definitely the nicest one I've bought this year. Then the last question on the mid-year book Freakout tag is, I don't know why I'm all the way over there. Hold on. Am I in the middle? Am I centered? I'm sorry if I'm not centered. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? That's so many. I have like 20 unread books on my shelf. I want to read A Curse for True Love. I want to read the Sarah J. Maas series. It's House of Earth and Blood, that series. I want to read A Day of Fall and Night. I have someone here on my nightstand. I want to read Happy Place by Emily Henry. I want to read this. I want to reread this. I could go on and on and on and on with the amount of books that are on my TBR and the ones that I want to buy. It's actually embarrassing the amount of books I have on my TBR. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, wish me luck with that, I guess. I'm hoping to at least knock a couple of them off my TBR before the end of the year. I have 6 months, you know? Can't be that hard. Unless I keep adding, which I do. Bro. What kind of pathetic ass bark is that? Anyway, thank you so much for watching my mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you... Jeez Louise! If I've been talking about that fast this whole video, I am so sorry. I don't know how you're going to understand any of this. I really need to slow down. Take a deep breath. You know what? It's because I keep drinking fizzy drinks that I shouldn't be drinking and then I get hyper. It's so good though. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. I'd love to know everyone's book recommendations, please, because obviously I've read everything there ever has been to read. And I'm severely lacking on my recommendations. I need recommendations. So, especially for Stephen King. If anyone has Stephen King recommendations, please leave them down below. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.